Hello guys, we're at a duplex. I'm going to go ahead and change out two systems, an old Lennox system here and a York system downstairs. And I'll show you what the problem is with the condensers when we get down there. So I got to disconnect these units, get them out of here. Since it's raining outside, I'm just going to work on demolition. And then we will put back a couple Amana 15 SEER heat pumps. Well, we've taken our blower out and our coil out of the old Lennox air handler. What I'm going to do is I take them apart piece by piece because it's just me today. So I want to make it as easy as possible on myself. There was a time when I was younger that I would take great pride in lifting heavy shit and carrying it places, but now that has passed. So now I'm just trying to be the smartest person I can be and not hurt myself. So I'm going to take it off the box here in a second. I'll disconnect the flex up top and disconnect the flex here on the side. It's a pretty easy setup since it's flexed on both ends. And just haul the pieces out separately using my little base box as a trash bin. Alright guys, she's all gone. Just a memory now. Off to the scrapyard. Evaporator coil off to make me $20 or $30. So that's where the new one will sit. Same format. Might run these lines a little bit differently. Take them up next to the wall. Neaten them up a little bit so people can stand in front of it and work on it. But besides that, she'll be in the same spot. Well, I got a good bargain on some nice aluminum 20x20s and it came in handy because that's exactly what we need here. The old grill was damaged, so I'll replace that. We have our new Honeywell stat on the wall. The homeowner actually bought those, wanted those. So there they go. That's just a little display paper right there. It's not on or anything. So heading downstairs to do some demolition down there, and we will be done for today after I yank out all this crap. Okay guys, we're down in the crawl space now with an old York's Air. As you see, the evaporator is missing. I did not take that out yet. The criminals took that out. Still had power to the unit, so I shut it down. We'll take it apart piece at a time. But it looks like someone has helped us with that. They even left the drain pan in place and broke out the vertical drain pan. It's impressive. It must have made a little noise. But that's why these things are getting changed out. You'll see the condensers in a second. Not much left of those bad boys. Alright guys, a little tough to see. Our Goodman air handler's in place. ASPT. A is air handler. S is the X13 motor. P is painted cabinet. T is a TXV. I'm about to put my Reflectix line box on the back of the unit. With put in the same way we made our drop boxes before, with stick pins and adhesive. Outside of the box is already masticed. So I'll go ahead and screw that in so I can tie the return on. Then we can tie the supply in and put in the heater. We are looking at the inside of the Goodman air handler, the ASPT 24. We are right-hand discharge. The motor's on the bottom. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to lift this up off the cabinet floor. That's our instructions. They have a new relay in there. X13 air handlers. They used to have a little black relay. Now it's like an ice cube style. The little black relay would stick from time to time, so it was good to move away from that. There's our heat kit, 5 kW sequencer up there. That's about it. The X13 motor air handlers are pretty simple. They have a terminal strip in them. That's remained the same. They used to be the same way in the ASPF. And that was the air handler that came before this one. That had an X13. Only difference is this one is smart frame, and this one also has a TXV built in. So that's about it. I'm going to wrap it up for today. It's been a long day working alone. Got our supply duct tied in the front, just squared around. And on the back, we have our return duct tied into our box. So this one is pretty much done as far as duct work. It's just going to be running a new line set and setting the heat pump tomorrow, and then setting the other air handler and heat pump as well. Hey guys, I'm driving down the street here on day 2 of our change out, or multi-change out. The problem is, one, as you see, it's raining. It's really put a damper on the progress of the job here. I put in that air handler yesterday in the crawl space. I actually ran both the line sets as well. When I went home, I figured today we might catch a break as far as rain and get the condenser set, but that's not happening. I mean, actually raining harder today. And then secondly, I went down to get the permits for the job, and it took over 2 hours because they have a new system in place, so it's really killed the day. I mean, I'm just getting to the job, and here we are after 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
So that's where we're at. Hopefully I'll get some work done, get the other air handlers sat and tied in. But stay tuned for more in the doldrums. We are back in the room where the air handler is destined to go, where the old Lennox air handler was. As you see, there's the flex in the ceiling coming down through for the supply. And here is the return box I fabricated at the shop this morning. Basically, it's just a box with standing S-lock as a tray for the unit, lined with Reflectix. So maybe one day we'll make a video on how to make those. But we're going to go ahead and set the air handler on it. We've taken all the guts out of the air handler to make it easier to move. So we, as in me, can relocate it easily. Now we have our Goodman ASPT cabinet sitting up on the base box. Made it a lot easier to move around when you can lift it up with one hand. Sitting on the base box, you can see the fit's pretty good down there. Have to put a squared around on the front or the top to go to that flex, and then we will be all set as far as ductwork, and we can go ahead and put the guts back in, get started on the drain, lines, and other stuff. Alright guys, our unit is sitting on the base box with the contents coil. See, there's our TXV. And then we have our ECM motor, which I like. It's kind of got little quick plugs, easy to take out, put back in real quickly. Very nice. Terminal strip, transformer, little ice cube relay. There's our supply connection. Didn't have quite enough insulation here, so I'm going to bring some Reflectix tomorrow and solve that problem. Our copper is running up in pretty close proximity to where it's going. It might hug to the wall a little bit, then come off with another piece of copper. And then we'll be pretty much set here. Got to do a little bit of drains. Then got to get a new wire down, because there's two wire run down there because there was an AC with electric furnace before. But we'll figure it out. I was moving on to my line set and thermostat wire going to the heat pump. I had a problem. I had 2 wire run to the heat pump instead of 6. So the issue is resolved because I found this conduit here which goes to the electrical panel for the second floor. It comes down in the closet downstairs. Now the ceiling is about 20 inches lower down there, so I had to cut a little tiny sheetrock hole so I could bring this wire down through it and use my copper as a fish tape because my fish tape died like 2 years ago. So it's a good reminder to buy a fish tape. So I'm going to go ahead and run that down into the crawl space, and then I can run it over here and wire up this air handler. Alright guys, we have our drain in. It's run around, going down through the floor, into the crawl space and out. We have our inline switch, and at the base we have our pan switch, so we're well protected against water. Now I'm going to go onto the brazing. As you see here, the lines are actually pretty close. Let's get a little short pieces of copper, stick them in there and braze it up, and we'll be happy. I am all done for today. I've fit up the air handler. We're short a piece of insulation, but other than that, we're pretty much finished. The line set's tied in, kind of curved away. I didn't do any fancy bending there because it was pretty much out of the way anyway. It would have been bending just for the sake of bending, which seems kind of stupid since you're just putting more friction in the line. But there's plenty of room to come service the equipment. Here I am standing in front of it now. It's our ASPT. Very nice. So all done for today. We'll head on to day 3. Hopefully it'll stop raining, but I don't think it's going to. So we'll probably end up coming back next week to finish the heat pumps. But on with the one-man show. Alright guys, I've finished insulating the air handler with Reflectix, which the air handler is actually in conditioned space, so technically it doesn't have to be insulated, but I know from experience that we're in a tucked away area of the conditioned space, so we might get a little bit of sweating. So I got one wrap of Reflectix around here. Reflectix is 4.2, this particular one, so it's good for this sort of thing. It's sort of perfect, and there's no fibers, and it's fantastic. This is a look at it right here on the side. Reflectix. It's wonderful. Alright guys, I'm down on the first floor, and what I had to do was come in and solder a new stub for the line set down into the crawl space because they have stolen the line sets off of this house. I brought the new line set up into the hole and met the old line set about halfway up because we can't get into the existing wall, which is right above here, but we can get up to this point. So finished doing that, do a little bit of fire caulking around this base, put in a little bit of insulation as a backing so I can fire caulk that hole, and I had to fire caulk the hole where the thermostat wire comes down from the second floor. And then I'll be underneath the crawl space doing some soldering and then outside. Now I've caulked the penetration for the thermostat wire, a little bit of metal to cover up a hole that's in the corner of this mechanical closet. It goes down to the floor with some conduit and other wire, and it's caulked again at the bottom. So we're sealed up here against fire. Well, we're sealed up this hole. There's about 1,000 more, and this building is probably 100 or 150 years old, so it's built out of kindling anyway. So, oh well.